You're tuning into Black and White Sports on YouTube. The no-holds-barred truth on sports. The main event starts.
All right, Black and White Sports supporters. Well, I'm always talking to you guys about agenda in the WNBA, particularly when it comes to a coach of the Indiana Fever, Stephanie White. And, well, some more comments have come out by way of this interview she had with Sue Bird, and it's laced with
Stephanie White just dropped a bombshell, labeling a massive segment of the WNBA's surging fan base as toxic. She wasn't talking about casual observers. She was aiming directly at the new blood, the very fans whose passion, largely ignited by superstars like Caitlin Clark, has literally saved this league. The audacity of calling the lifeline of your sport toxic sent shockwaves, and the silence from the league itself was deafening. This wasn't just a critique, it was an attack, and the backlash was immediate and fierce, setting the stage for an explosive confrontation within the league's inner circles.
And, well, some more comments have come out by way of this interview she had with Sue Bird, and it's laced with, well, it's laced with the agenda, the very agenda I keep talking about. You see, the WNBA does not appreciate actual regular sports fans coming into their league, and yeah, regular sports fans are probably going to push back on your political agenda, your social agendas, all these kind of things. Sports fans don't need to see it. They don't want to see it. Fact is, they tune into it.
The controversy ignited during White's interview on the Bird's Eye View with Sue Bird, where the Indiana Fever head coach was asked about desired changes in the league. Her answer, ostensibly about improving the WNBA, quickly veered into a sharp condemnation of fan behavior. White's comments, however, were not isolated. They echoed a deeper, more unsettling agenda within the WNBA. The league, it seems, doesn't appreciate actual regular sports fans, particularly those who might question their political or social stances. This disconnect is creating a chasm.
Now, my issue with this is, if you're a regular sports fan, you're now toxic because you don't want to hear about their political agendas and their causes. All right? We're not talking about they're getting behind we're trying to cure cancer. No. We're trying to keep it normalized for sports players to continue having romantic relationships that literally conflict in between opposing teams. Which, by the way, because of gambling, is shocking. There's gambling on
The core of White's message revealed a stark double standard. She wants the WNBA to be at the forefront of social change, consistently pushing a specific political agenda. Yet when fans who simply tune in for the basketball push back against this constant messaging, they are instantly branded as toxic. This narrative ignores a fundamental truth. Sports fans primarily seek entertainment and competition, not a soapbox for every social cause. The league is actively alienating the very audience it desperately needs to cultivate for long-term success and broader appeal, choosing ideology over growth.
teams. Which, by the way, because of gambling, is shocking. There's gambling on WNBA games, props, etc. You got players in the league that are having romantic relationships with each other. We've never brought that up. But if you look at gambling and you look at that, that is a huge problem. That is a huge problem. That's always the current concern with Stephanie White and a lot of these people involved with this league. Are you truly making basketball?
This selective labeling of fans as toxic is particularly galling given the WNBA's recent unprecedented growth. This surge in popularity isn't some organic phenomenon. It's overwhelmingly attributed to breakout stars like Caitlin Clark, Angel Reese, and Paige Buckers. These players have brought in millions of new viewers, creating media rights deals and attendance figures the league could only dream of before. To then turn around and disparage the very fans these athletes attracted feels like a direct slap in the face to the players who are generating the revenue.
It could not have come at a better time for the league, given that the Players Association is currently in negotiations with the WNBA league office for the next CBA. It should be noted. Do you believe that Adam Silver could have parlayed the media rights deal into a $2.2 billion deal without all these toxic regular sports fans that showed up? Of course not. Of course not. These fans bumped your ratings into places that they've never even sniffed before.
Imagine Adam Silver attempting to secure a $2.2 billion media rights deal without the influx of these so-called toxic regular sports fans. It's an impossible scenario. These new fans have bumped ratings to unprecedented levels, creating a financial windfall that directly benefits the players. Without this massive influx of interest, driven almost entirely by the compelling narratives and sheer talent of stars like Caitlin Clark, the WNBA wouldn't be sniffing these lucrative deals. The league is thriving, yet simultaneously biting the hand that feeds it, a truly bewildering strategy that confounds many.
Which is largely owed to players like Caitlin Clark, Angel Reese, and Paige Beckers entering the WNBA and thriving. It's hard to imagine the WNBA players would get the vastly increased salaries they're going to receive as part of a ratified CBA, or at least their salaries wouldn't increase to the same degree. Let me clean that up for you. Which is largely owed to players like Caitlin Clark. Period. Full stop. Full stop. Come on, stop that. Stop with this ridiculousness. But this attention on women's basketball isn't wholly positive. With so many...
The financial stakes are incredibly high right now. The WNBA Players Association is currently in negotiations with the league office for the next collective bargaining agreement, CBA. The vastly increased salaries and benefits these players will receive are directly linked to the league's boom in popularity, which again is largely owed to Caitlin Clark. Without this sudden explosion of fan engines, their salary increases wouldn't even be close to the anticipated figures. The league's leadership seems to forget that the money they're fighting for comes from the pockets and viewership of these very fans.
But women in particular. She just come right out and said, I want our league to be all up in the agenda. I think we want to continue to expand the footprint to look to make sure the season's longer. It's tough with the calendar. It's tough with everything we have to compete against, but these women deserve an opportunity to have this as their only job, number one, and to be able to play a true season, to have an off season so their bodies can recover. And hopefully we won't see the same amount of injury. I mean, it's ridiculous. We want to be able to...
The hypocrisy deepens when considering the WNBA's own internal issues versus its external criticism of fans. The league is quick to label fans as toxic for questioning its social agendas, but it largely ignores glaring professional conduct concerns within its own ranks. For instance, the rampant romantic relationships between players on opposing teams, especially in a league where gambling is becoming prevalent, raises serious questions about game integrity. This significant ethical dilemma remains unaddressed, yet fans are lectured about tribalism.
I'm not shutting up about that. Not a chance. And now that gambling is in the background, I'm certainly not shutting up about it. It's a problem. Plain and simple. I mean, frankly, if the government wasn't so damn busy, I'd be like, maybe you ought to launch an investigation into the WNBA when it comes to gambling and all the romantic relationships among teams where they obviously know what each other are doing on a professional level that affects actual games played, that people are losing their hard-earned money betting on. Oh, I bet I wasn't supposed to.
The issue of player relationships conflicting with professional competition is not a minor point. With the rise of legal sports betting on WNBA games, including player props, the potential for conflicts of interest becomes a massive problem. Are basketball decisions truly being made solely on talent and strategy, or are personal connections influencing playtime and team dynamics? This unaddressed internal conflict poses a far more substantial threat to the league's credibility than any fan expressing an opinion online. Stephanie White's assertion that tribalism is a unique problem for the WNBA's new fan base reveals a profound misunderstanding of sports culture. Tribalism, in the form of passionate team loyalty and rivalries, is a foundational element of virtually every professional sports league in America. It's what drives engagement, viewership, and attendance. To single out the WNBA's new fans for this common sports phenomenon and label it as nastiness is absurd. It's part of the game, not a sign of toxicity unique to these new supporters. The WNBA's leadership, including coaches like White, seems to be so ate up with the causes and the message that they cannot separate the basketball product from their political and social agendas. This inability to compartmentalize is a problem. Fans want to see elite basketball, fierce competition, and compelling stories on the court. When every interaction is laced with a political message, it alienates a significant portion of the audience who simply want to enjoy the sport without constant ideological messaging, leading to frustration. The commentator argued that if regular sports fans don't want to hear about these agendas, they are suddenly deemed toxic. This creates an environment where dissent is not tolerated and independent thought is punished. The narrative suggests that fans must conform to a specific ideological viewpoint to be considered good fans. This stifles genuine engagement and creates an echo chamber, rather than fostering a truly diverse and passionate fan base, which is essential for any growing sports league. This isn't about ignoring serious issues like curing cancer. It's about the league's selective focus. The WNBA prioritizes specific social campaigns, while seemingly neglecting core professional integrity issues, such as the gambling implications of inter-team romantic relationships, the disparity in what the league chooses to address, and how it labels those who question these choices, exposes a deeply flawed perception of its priorities and responsibilities to its audience, undermining its own legitimacy in the eyes of many. The commentator explicitly questioned the professionalism of the league's operations, pointing out the bizarre and unprofessional ways things are handled, especially when contrasted with other major sports leagues. This isn't just about a coaching philosophy, it's about the fundamental management and public relations strategy of an entire organization. The WNBA wants the increased salaries, the higher ratings, and the packed attendance, but it simultaneously wants fans to come in and enjoy their league and shut up, a truly impossible demand. The suggestion that the league wishes fans would simply consume their product quietly, without criticism or differing opinions, is a recipe for disaster. This approach ultimately silences legitimate concerns and prevents healthy dialogue. A truly thriving sports league embraces its passionate fan base, even when they voice discontent, rather than dismissively labeling them toxic for having opinions. The idea that fans should be seen and not heard is an outdated and unsustainable model in modern sports entertainment, leading to resentment. The commentator's outrage was palpable, stating clearly the sports fans have shown up, and you're not going to make us shut up. You're not going to silence us. You're not going to try to quiet us or censor us or any of that nonsense. This defiant stance embodies the snap promised in the video title. It represents the collective pushback from a fan base tired of being lectured and disrespected, especially after contributing so much to the league's newfound success. The sheer audacity of Stephanie White, and by extension, parts of the WNBA leadership, to criticize the very fans who have created this boom is shocking. It's a move that threatens to undermine the very foundation of their recent success. Instead of celebrating the diverse new audience, they choose to gatekeep and demand ideological conformity. This strategy not only creates division, but actively risks alienating the passionate supporters who are crucial for sustaining this incredible period of growth and visibility. The commentator even suggested that if the government wasn't so busy, there might be grounds for an investigation into the WNBA regarding gambling and the romantic relationships among teams. This serious allegation highlights the level of concern about potential conflicts of interest that could compromise the integrity of games. This far outweighs any concerns about toxic fan discourse, yet the league seemingly turns a blind eye to its own internal issues, while pointing fingers at its passionate supporters. The WNBA is at a critical juncture, experiencing unprecedented growth and media attention. This moment should be about embracing new fans, fostering a welcoming environment, and building on this momentum. Instead, comments like Stephanie White's risk creating a hostile atmosphere for new supporters, pushing away the very people who have invested their time and emotion into making the league a success. It's a strategic misstep that could jeopardize future growth and tarnish the league's image, creating unnecessary friction. The message from the commentator reflecting the outrage of many fans is clear. There's 0% chance that fans will simply comply and shut up. They will continue to watch, support their teams, and voice their opinions, particularly when they feel the league is acting unprofessionally or hypocritically. The WNBA needs to recognize that its audience is not a monolithic entity to be controlled, but a diverse community whose passion, even when critical, is a vital part of its identity and continued relevance in the sports landscape. Ultimately, Stephanie White's labeling of Caitlin Clark's passionate fanbase as toxic isn't just a misstep, it's a profound miscalculation. The WNBA has reached new heights thanks to the very fans now being chastised. The league must decide if it truly wants mainstream success, which requires embracing diverse fan perspectives, or if it prefers to cater to a narrow ideological agenda at the cost of alienating its most valuable asset, the millions of new engaged supporters who have made this boom possible. The future hinges on this critical choice.